The November 8th election is next Tuesday. There are several key issues on the ballot in West Virginia. One of them is Amendment 2. If passed, Amendment 2 would allow the legislature to eliminate personal property taxes, including the car tax and taxes paid by businesses. Counties are concerned because the state constitution currently guarantees them that funding. Republican Governor Jim Justice has been traveling all over the state to say he is against Amendment 2. Governor Justice has made another trip to Parkersburg to voice his opposition to it. He joins us now in the studio with Baby Dog to tell us more about Amendment 2. Governor Justice, thank you so much for joining us. It's such a treat. And I wanted to ask you, you have been all over the state talking about Amendment 2. Why are you so against Amendment 2?
Well, Phyllis, first and foremost, I believe in local control. Secondly, I believe I have a mechanism to for sure get rid of your car tax. They really don't. It's kind of a promise, but from my side, the car tax will be gone. That's not the issue at all. The issue is, are we willing to change our Constitution? Are we willing to give up our independence? Because at the end of the day, if our counties don't have a guaranteed income stream of funding, then what happens? Then we have to line up in a line and go to Charleston and beg for funding. All the counties do. Now, and at the same time, you know, if Charleston doesn't have this massive surpluses and we have a bump in the road, at that point in time, then our policemen, our firemen, our schools, all the different aspects that I'm a real believer in, the local people know a heck of a lot better about what to do than the Charleston folks. Now, with all that being said, on top of that, if that's not bad enough, then the other two things that will happen is just this. We'll reward big, giant corporations with big tax breaks. From my family's standpoint, it would mean millions of dollars to me, and I'm the one telling you don't do it. And on top of that, we're going to put a stake in the heart of our personal income tax forever. That's another big mistake. And lastly is just this. At the end of the day, when the counties don't have their funding, they're going to have to raise everybody's personal property taxes. So at the end of the day, what's going to happen to everybody is their taxes are going to go up. I have a mechanism to get rid of the car tax, and absolutely without affecting the Constitution, and you're giving up your independence, you're giving up your rights. And that to me is really bad.
How do you think this would affect people in Wood and Pleasants County if it were to pass?
I think it will really hurt. At the end of the day, and I'll be right about this, I tell people all the time, if you're not mad right now, you will be. Because the way this thing has been couched is pass Amendment 2 and get rid of your car tax. Well, the car tax was just put there to buy your vote. I mean, at the end of the day, this is all about a big tax break to big giant corporations, Walmart, Dow Chemical, and on and on. And it's also couched, well, we're going to bring those corporations here. Well, for God's sakes, 11. I mean, I'm the guy that's talking to the corporations all the time. I have not had one ask me about their machinery and inventory tax. And they're coming like crazy. And so with all that being said, if you're willing to give up your independence in Wood County, and you're willing to give Charleston total control of what you want to do, and you're willing to maybe turn your back on the working family out there for big corporations, then you need to vote for this. If you're not willing to give up your independence, without any question, this is a terrible move. Now, from my standpoint, I've got to say just one more thing. I can ride to the end of the road because I've only got a couple years left. And really and truly, I can cut every ribbon, I can go to every parade, I can do everything. And we're doing pretty dadgum good in West Virginia today. But mark it down, dupe will happen. And when bad stuff happens and we come up short, the folks that I'm talking to, if you're not mad now, you will be. You'll be really mad because you gave up your right and you'll never get it back.
Can you tell us more about your plan as different than Amendment 2, what you would do?
My plan would be just do this, get rid of the car tax right off the get-go. I mean, the car tax is gone. That's not even an issue. And right behind that, get on some level of pathway to start diminishing the personal income tax, which would put money right back in people's hands. We need people in West Virginia. We've got to grow people in West Virginia. I mean, because big companies are coming, but there's no workers here. And so we got to grow people. And then, if once we breathe just a little bit, get rid of the car tax, reduce the personal income tax, and then breathe, and if things are going good, then at that point in time, whittle away on the machinery and inventory tax. That's the right plan.
Can you explain why this issue has to go on the ballot instead of being passed through the legislature?
It was all a trick. I mean, it's just a trick. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, it's terrible to think of it. But what we did was we passed a resolution, and it seemed benign at the time, you know, between the House and the Senate, and a lot of great legislatures just went along. And because they didn't have any idea the level of toxicity that this could have. Now, I believe with all in me, they're trying to get away from this because it does have major toxicity. But with all that being said, now just think about it. Here's what's just happened. This is the definition of the swamp. You have legislatures that are aspiring to the next highest office, run for governor, whatever it may be. You have lobbyists that come to them and make unbelievable campaign donations or whatever, and the lobbyists are representing the special interests, the big corporations or whatever it may be. With all that, you get wedded. The legislature gets wedded to this, you know, get rid of the machinery and inventory tax, and they can't get away from it. And at the end of the day, then they say, tell you what we'll do. We'll hook this car tax deal with it, and we'll say, vote for Amendment 2 to get rid of your car tax, and everybody will do it. Well, you see, they've deceived us. A couple of people, not all, by any stretch of the imagination, they have come up with an idea and basically deceived the voters. Now, at the end of the day, what's my job? My job is to tell you. And if I don't tell you, then I'm not doing my job. And so, at the end of the day, if we vote for this and it passes, my companies will dance all the way to the bank because it'll be big money to me, millions, millions. I'm telling you, don't do it. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, I'm going to continue to try to do more and more and more good for West Virginia if it passes. I'll respect the voters, but I will tell you, it will absolutely crumble our counties before it's over.
Are there any positives to Amendment 2?
I can't see it because the only positive I can't see a positive. You know, from the standpoint of really Amendment 2 is about just this. Amendment 2 is changing the Constitution that's been in place for 90 years and say, we're going to give up all local control and we're going to have Charleston take over all control. That's what Amendment 2 truly is. Car tax, my method will get rid of the car tax. The car tax is gone. Amendment 2 doesn't have anything to do with that. You know, at the end of the day, Amendment 2 is turning control all over to Charleston, giving big giant tax breaks to corporations, and turning our back on people that are really hurting out there with inflation eating them alive. I mean, I don't know how you do that.
Some people say it'll attract more jobs, but you don't think that will be the case?
Well, if it would, why wouldn't they be asking me? I mean, why wouldn't big corporations be saying, I'll come to West Virginia if you get rid of the machinery and inventory tax? I mean, the idea, you know, when I walked into office, you know, we had done some things before I ever got there in thinking that a whole bunch of people are going to come. That kind of approach is build a field and they'll come. But they didn't come, did they? I walked into office and the only idea on the table was cut, 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 cut. A state that was bankrupt. And you see where we are today, and we're knocking it out of the park. We're diversified, lots and lots and lots of good going on. And I'm telling you without any question, if we pass Amendment 2, at some point in time in the very near future, we'll go right back to where we were. We won't know what to do. We'll just cut, cut, cut. And at that point in time, if the counties can't fund the police and the firemen, what are they going to do? Your assessments at the county level let's say you have an assessment and you're paying tax on 60% of the assessment. The only thing the county will be able to do is raise that to 100% of the assessment. So then everybody's taxes will go up like crazy. It is a bad, bad, bad idea.
Was it hard for you to break from your party on this issue?
Sure, and I tried every way in the world to sit and negotiate and talk and everything else. And then you have to make a decision. You can either, because I'm a real believer in this. I'm a real believer that the good Lord made me Jim Justice for a reason, made you who you are for a reason. And with all that being said, at the end of the day, if I just sit on the sideline and say, let it go through, my companies are going to make a bunch of money, absolutely just don't say anything, I believe the good Lord looks at me and says, I'm not happy with you. And so I've got to at least go out and tell everybody what I think this thing is all about. I think it's hoodwinking the voters, bad, bad, bad stuff. And with all that, nothing to do with the car tax, absolutely helping big giant companies that are already doing really good, people that are having inflation issues and everyday workers, it's going to hurt like crazy. You're going to give up all control on the county level. And why? Because of the swamp. That's what it's all about. It's just about politicians doing something first and foremost for themselves. But you see, I've never wanted anything, never wanted a thing. And that's the way I'm going to stand. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm sitting here with a bulldog. I mean, give me a break.
We do love her.
Yeah,
so you're all about supporting the middle class and working families.
I'm sorry?
You're all about supporting working families, the middle class.
Listen, I'm a business guy. I mean, I welcome all big business here. Out of state, in state, whatever it may be. I'm a business guy. But at the same time, I want to first and foremost look out after West Virginians. They're the people we need to take care of first. If we get our people really more and more good for people in West Virginia, more and more people will move here. Last thing is, think about this a second. My people just gave me a tax report, states that are the most attractive to have, for tax climate, period. West Virginia was ranked 20th. All the states around us, Kentucky was ranked 18th. All the states around us are higher. Ohio is ranked 33rd and Pennsylvania is ranked 37th. We're not doing too bad. So with all that being said, and this was put out by the Tax Foundation, the best of the best, the two leaders of the band for Amendment 2 have been flaunting, we want to be like Ohio, we want to be like Pennsylvania. Are you kidding me? Are you totally kidding me? No, this is not the right thing. I'm not looking for a food fight in my party or out of my party. I'm looking just to do the right thing for all of us.
And switching gears a little bit from Amendment 2, you have 2 years left in your term. What are your plans after that? Well,
I don't know. In all honesty, may run for a federal office, may very well. At the same time, I have been, and I really mean this, I have been really, really honored by West Virginians. I mean, this has been tough stuff. I mean, you took over a state and all kinds of economic problems. Then you had a pandemic hit along the way. It's been tough and everything. And then there's lots of rocks thrown at you from time to time, and that's not any fun. But at the end of the day, really, when it boils right down to it, the folks out there really connect with me, and they love me. And the reason for that is so simple, because they know I love them. So absolutely, I'd run through a wall for West Virginians, and I think we're the best of the best people, and now the whole world's awakening to that, and that makes me really, really, really proud. So we'll see. I got plenty to do, and everything, but it'll either be I'll run for a national office, or I'll step back and run our businesses again, and Baby Dog and I'll hunt and fish more.
Yes. Could you see yourself running for Senate?
I could. I could, you know, and you know, we'll have to see. I mean, you know, it's still a long ways away and a lot to consider. You know, I think that you know, I really truly believe it's been, like I said, it's been a gigantic honor being your governor. It'd be a gigantic honor, you know, in a national office as well.
You really guided us through the pandemic with your daily briefings and the vaccination rollout.
Well, you know, it was, you know, when you've read 7,500 plus or minus names, and you think about those families, how bad they're hurting and everything, it's, I mean, that's not even fun. And so a lot of folks all across the state, everybody was affected. And we had to move, and we had to make the right decisions. We had to make the right economic decisions about the CARE money and the PPP money that was going to the businesses, and you know, what to open, what to shut down, and all through everything, and with no playbook. I mean, with really and truly just advice coming from Washington in many situations. So it was plenty tough, but you know, I am the type person that would say to you, I want the ball. You know, I'm the guy that's going to say, when things get really tough, I want the ball, because I make mistakes, but I'm going to do my best to not let you down. And I'm not going to run and hide in the corner and everything. When things get tough, that's when you need me, in my opinion. And I make mistakes, but thank goodness we've had a lot of people pulling the rope together on that one.
Did you have any reservations speaking out about Amendment 2?
Well, sure, you know, and I mean, I was really caught so off guard. I mean, if you think about it, I came out in July and said, let's do a 10% income tax break to all of our people. Well, you got super majorities in the House and the Senate, and they're all Republicans. I mean, for God's sakes, living, you know, Republicans are supposed to be in favor of tax breaks. And I said, well, this is a slam dunk. We'll call a special session. We got our people, we got $5 gasoline, grocery prices off the chart. We'll get $254 million of this surplus money out tomorrow. House passed it in a day. And then it just stopped. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I said, what in the world's going on? You know, and the deeper I dug, the worse it stunk. And that's all there is to it. The deeper you dig, the more you're going to find stuff for self-interest versus the state, and it just stinks and deceiving and everything else under the sun. So with all that, then I went to that leadership and said, look, let's just work something out here. Let's just compromise on something and work something. We got to get some money to the people and everything. And they couldn't do it. And the reason they couldn't do it is because they've got to have all the money. They've got to have all the money. They can't do a personal income tax cut. I mean, for crying out loud, the machinery and inventory tax and the car tax, and I've got the car tax handled. Everybody should know that no way that they're going to be paying the car tax, pass Amendment 2 or not. Amendment 2 has nothing to do with that. But when you step back from the whole thing, think about this. Car tax, machinery and inventory, and if the utilities are to be included, and they think they are, it's $800 or $900 million. It's not $500 million. It's big money. Well, you pull that out of the revenue of the state of West Virginia, what in the world do you think's going to happen? I mean, for crying out loud, if the surpluses just dry up just a little bit, if coal prices drop, gas prices drop, you know, you get PEI out of balance, you get, I mean, pay raises, you get matching dollars from the federal government, anything. What's going to happen? We're going to be upside down. And the second we're upside down, Charleston, if they get control of everything through Amendment 2, is going to say, we can't fund you. We can't fund you, not at 100% level. Well, then what happens? The policemen and the firemen and all those people, we can't fund them all. We're going to do with 80% or whatever, 20% less. And then The only recourse the county has to get that funding is raise your assessment and tax you more. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just rotten. I don't know any other way to tell you than just that.
You think it's a power grab?
No question. It's exactly what's going on. You've got Charleston wanting to control everything. This is just plain backwards from the way Republicans think. Republicans think, you know, we should absolutely, we should give tax breaks, and absolutely without any question, we should have local control and not Charleston control. Local state control, not Washington control. That's how Republicans think, you know, and you've got two people that are the leadership of the Senate that won't even allow the Senate to vote on it. And it's, and you've got great people out there, great senators out there and everything, and they're just bewildered. They really are. But all I do is go back and tell the people just exactly just this. If you're not mad right now and you vote for this, you will be mad. You mark it down. I probably won't be your governor, and I'll probably be gone. But at that point in time, I'll see you in Walmart. And when I see you in Walmart, if you pass this and then you're mad because the whole wheels will fly off. You won't be able to fund the police. You won't be able to fund our seniors. You won't be able to fund the schools. And when the wheels fly off and you see me, I'll look right at you and say, I told you so. Because that's exactly what's getting ready to happen.
Okay, thank you so much, Governor Justice. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I'm good. That's it.
Yes.
Phyllis, thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you for bringing Baby Dog. She's become a superstar in her own right.
I know. She's a lot more popular than I am, but you know, the other thing, I would say this real quick. She makes us smile. And not only that, she loves everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, she loves everybody. How can the message be any better than that? Couldn't possibly be better than just that.